Hudson County View, live and uncut, and I'm your host, the guy that lifts barbell plates, eats T-bone steaks, and still has a demeanor that's sweeter than a chocolate cake, John Heinis. And of course, we got a lot to talk about. We're just under 6 weeks until Election Day, and of course, we got the gubernatorial contest between Mikey Sherrill and Jack Ciattarelli at the top of the ticket. And over here in Hudson County, we got some big municipal races in Jersey City and Hoboken. So on that note, we saw the Hotel Trades and Gaming Council give some endorsements in those races, so we're going to talk about who they're throwing their support behind and why. We're also going to be talking a bit about what's going on in 2026. That's right, some people are already getting a jump on these county commissioner races, and we have a candidate announced in the 2nd District. Of course, that's based out of Ward B in Jersey City. Also includes parts of downtown now as well. And it's a familiar name and face, so we're going to tell you about that. We're also going to chat a little bit about this issue between some union workers at Iron State over in downtown Jersey City. So we're going to tell you what's going on between 32 BJ, Babco, and Iron State. So that's an ongoing contract negotiation that's kind of stalled out, and it's leading to some tensions. So going to explain that. And we're also going to chat a little bit about what's going on the Jersey City Council. Over there, you remember that Ward E Councilman James Solomon, who's running for mayor, and of course he was just on this program last week, he's put up these 3 ordinances to strengthen rent protections in the city. And now we're talking about mandatory minimum fines for negligent landlords. And we heard from Chief Municipal Prosecutor Jake Hudnut for a good portion of that caucus. So we got all that and a whole lot more today. Right after this break, I'm going to be joined with Jersey City Ward E Council candidate Ryan Baylock. We'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John Heinis, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, I am joined with Jersey City Ward E Council candidate Ryan Baylock. Ryan, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So first of all, obviously it's a crowded field to succeed the incumbent, James Solomon, who's running for mayor. So just tell me, what made you want to do this and what makes you think you're the top choice for the job?
Yeah, so public service is my passion. Public service is my life. I'm the son of 2 educators. My mom taught for 34 years. My dad taught for 37 years. And I knew I wanted to live a meaningful life, and I followed in their footsteps and became an educator. And as an educator, I serve constituents every day, which are the families that send kids to the schools I work at. And I want to bring that same level of passion and excellence to Jersey City, to be out, have an impact outside the walls of a school, and to have an impact in the place where my wife lives and where I'm raising my baby boy. And so, that's why I'm running, and that's why I'm in this.
Okay, simple enough. So about 2 to 3 weeks ago, you submitted an editorial that we published, and you were talking about your vision for the Newark Avenue Pedestrian Plaza, and you talked a little bit about the homeless population there and police enforcement, a number of other things. So just in case anyone missed it, just give me your vision and how you ended up there.
Yeah, so I mean, I think at the core of it, I might butcher this quote, but FDR said, take a method and try it. If it fails, take responsibility and try another, but above all else, you have to try something. And so the vision for improvement plan in the Newark Avenue Pedestrian Plaza is just that. It's a plan. It's something that I think if we attack from a number of different angles, we could definitely make a difference there. But if we could engage all stakeholders, if we could attack the problem all at once and consistently, I think we can make a big difference. And by the way, that's in response to constituent concerns. I had business owners who have talked to me and emailed me about the issues that they see in the plaza. When I'm speaking and knocking on doors and talking with voters, they're concerned about the plaza as well. So this is a response to those concerns. And I'm going to always respond to concerns, and I'm going to always attack problems strategically and persistently.
So do you think this would be more of a pilot approach, or do you think this would be more, more permanent kind of changes?
So I think anything that I do is something that's going to be systematic and that's going to be permanent. And I think it's obviously something that you have to do consistently. So you can't just, one day go out and have homeless outreach, and one day go out and have police enforce, e-bikes. It has to be every day. It has to be consistent, and that's how you impact behavior. Because right now, it's kind of a free-for-all out there where you could do whatever you want. It's not good for the folks that are there, whether they're engaging in drug use, alcohol abuse, or just sleeping out there, right? It's also not good for business owners. It's not good for somebody pushing their stroller down the middle of the plaza. And so it has to be a consistent effort towards change.
All right, makes sense. Now, similarly, that there's been some chatter in recent months about the future of Barrow Street. Do we open that road back up? Do we maybe leave it closed, make it into a playground? And there's been a number of other proposals, but those were the two most popular. What do you see as being the most viable option there?
So right now there's a development that's happening at the property where Barcade used to be. And I know that there's going to be commercial fronts right along Barrow Street. And I know that there are ideas that the developer has to create a walking park in that space. So I'd like to take a look at that. I'd like to see what constituents think about that plan, and definitely make sure that there's enough public input to figure out what the consensus is in order to make that space as useful as possible.
All right, so that I think leads us into the broader picture. Of course, everyone, regardless if you're running from Ward A to Ward F, they're talking about affordability, right? So we're talking about affordability. I think that always ties into responsible development. So what does that look like if you were the downtown council representative? Yeah.
So let me start with affordability. One thing that Team McGreevy wants to do is have an office of tenant advocacy. And so that office would fight for tenants' rights. The other day I was, talking with someone in Villa Borinquen, and, next door, she had a neighbor that was moving things out and she was being evicted. And the grounds in which she was being evicted for was heartbreaking. She didn't know where she was going to stay that night. So an office of tenant advocacy is something that will help be an advocate for tenants. I think we want to provide 20% affordable housing in major developments. We also want to stabilize taxes. And we also want to build 1,000 senior affordable units in the city. And so those are some of the things that Team McGreevy plans to do. And then finally, the other one big one is you can't destroy existing affordable housing. So we need to preserve areas like Villa Borinquen. I know in Holland Gardens, I was talking with residents there, and they're getting displaced because of the Winds development that's going to be there. Now, the Winds development is planning on providing 192 units of affordable housing, right? However, in the meantime, all the residents of Holland Gardens are being moved to other parts of the city that they're unfamiliar with, that's going to detach them from their neighbors. And they're also not really certain or trusting that they're going to get units in the new development. And so, we have to do things in a way that preserves the existing affordable housing, and that's something that we're committed to.
All right, thank you for that. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Stay put. We're just going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and I'm still here with Jersey City Ward E Council candidate Ryan Baylock. So just real quick on affordability, you probably have seen and heard that one of the opposing camps has said this goal of 1,000 units that's been proposed by Jim McGreevey is completely impossible. So what do you think about that?
I don't agree with people saying that things are impossible. At the end of the day, you figure out how to get things done. You figure out how to achieve what's right for constituents, what's just. And so, there's a lot of things that people say is impossible. People say that, achieving great results in an inner city school is impossible. I don't believe that. And so as a result, I work with tenacity in order to bring the best results to the people I work for. And that's what Team McGreevey stands for. And that's what we're going to fight for. And so, there's barriers everywhere. They're there to get broken through.
All right. Point taken. So obviously you come from the education sector, as you eloquently said at the beginning. And I know Team McGreevey's talked about revitalizing the school district, the public schools. Obviously test scores aren't where they all need to be. And, the school funding issue is still pretty tough. But that's probably outside the realm of a council person. But, when you think about collaborating, the municipal government and the Board of Education, how does that look like to you?
So, when I was in the classroom, I had 30 to 36 kids per class. The school, when we first started off at KIPP, New Jersey, we didn't have air conditioning in the school. And regardless, we executed. We worked hard, we figured it out, and we provided great educational opportunities. And so that's all to say, the most important component of a school is the teacher that's in front of kids. And also the leaders who hold those teachers accountable, who teach them how to teach, who support them. And so what I want to see is, I want to see what kinds of professional development teachers are getting. What's the rubric that's being used to evaluate them? How are they being supported in meeting the demands of that rubric, which at the end of the day meets the demands of the kids? Because, I haven't seen headlines that say teachers didn't get paid this week, right, or principal didn't get paid. At the end of the day, they're getting paid. So it's about the work that they have to do, whether it's challenging or not, that matters to me. And so those are the things that I want to look into, because I think, a $1 billion budget, I think the money's there. We just got to figure out how to allocate it, but also how to inspire the people who are responsible for this work.
Sure. Now, when you're thinking about the mayor and/or council, though, how could you be a good steward or liaison to the board? Because obviously, as is, they're two separate agencies, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you think that could work or look?
Well, what drives me is constituents. So if I have constituents talking to me about what they, desire in a school, then what I'm going to do is use my position in order to make sure that's communicated to those who are leaders in the school district, and provide support with implementing those things. I've been a part of great schools my entire career. I know how to get this work done. And so if I could provide guidance, then I definitely will provide guidance and a sense of accountability as well.
Okay, cool. And, so again, a lot of things are similar across the boards. Development, of course, we talked about affordability. But specifically, actually, there's one project that I mentioned last week that I'd like to pose to you as well, the Albion Hotel. It's in litigation right now, so who knows? Maybe that's 3 years away till we get a conclusion. But it got the approvals. It's now in the courts. What do you think of that project and the way that whole process played out?
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of the height variance. I don't like the precedent that sets for other developments in the neighborhood. I think there are some serious concerns that I have with the deliveries and the congestion that that's going to cause. It's a three-way stop. And, we already have a lot of congestion in downtown Jersey City, something that we're going to have to work hard to solve. But I'm not opposed to a hotel. I'm not opposed to a development that's going to help small businesses and help the area. But those two concerns, I think, are an issue.
Sure. And when we're talking about traffic congestion, there are critics online, and of course we all have them, trust me, I know. But people say that Team McGreevy's too focused on parking in some cases. And I know in some cases they've talked about downtown. So when you're thinking about adding units and affordability, like where does parking come into play there from your point of view?
I think parking is important. I think what I want to do is I want to strengthen the systems that should exist right now. Right now, it's optional to have a parking permit, so as a result, you have construction workers, for example, near my house that park on the street, right? And so I want to make sure that the parking systems are enforced, starting with permits, starting with, making sure that our meters are updated and are strategic. One of the big things when it comes to just, I looked at Hoboken versus Jersey City when it comes to parking revenue. Hoboken generates around $20 million in parking revenue. Jersey City declares $780,000, right? And we both pay salaries and wages to our parking enforcement of $6 million, right? And so I think there's a lot of room for us to really improve our parking systems, and I think that's important because cars aren't going anywhere. And so I also think we strengthen our infrastructure when it comes to bike lanes. I think that we need protected bike lanes that connect throughout the city in order for it to be safe to move around. There's no protected bike lane between Christopher Columbus and Hamilton Park. So I think I'm an and guy. I think we could have parking systems that work and pedestrian safety and bike safety as well.
Very good. Ryan, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Great talking to you. Thanks for bringing the baby.
That's right. Nice job, Bobby.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View, live on Uncut, John Heinis. So let's talk about a few stories that we had this week. So last month, it just came out, started making the rounds late last week that a Union City landlord filed a 3-count lawsuit at Hudson County Superior Court against the city of Union City, Mayor Brian Stack, and Health Director Alex Velasquez. She's alleging retaliation, civil rights violations, and trespassing. So this is something that goes back to 2022. Victorina Salvador, a resident of Edison, bought a property at 324 24th Street through the company AVGS Holdings, Inc. And she said that she began receiving a lot of complaints that went, quote unquote, beyond city and state mandates. And there was a lot of demand for repairs and for check-ins and for inspections, which, again, she says through the lawsuit were not proper and in some cases not legal. And she claims both Velasquez and Stack yelled at her. They kept doing political mailers and drop-offs at her house after she put up signs specifically asking them not to do that. And I guess the biggest one was probably Halloween 2023. She says there was a unreasonable search at her house where the police department actually broke down doors because allegedly, again, there was a heat problem, but she contends that it was 52 degrees outside. So, this was not a dire situation. Doors didn't need to be broken down. So as a result, she's seeking an order barring her from being on the receiving end of retaliation or trespassing. And of course, like anyone else who files a lawsuit seeking damages, counsel fees and costs of suit, damages, civil penalties, anything else along those lines. And any, of course, relief the court deems just and equitable. And also worth noting, though, that we saw in a letter from Mayor Stack from April that Ms. Salvador had these municipal complaints that were heard at Hoboken Municipal Court. She entered a guilty plea to operating an Airbnb and had to pay $4,500 in fines and make repairs as of July 22nd. There were some photos circulating that didn't paint a pretty picture, but they weren't dated. I was told it was early July, but again, there was no way to verify when exactly these photos were from. So with that, I'm going to move on. Before we get into the heavy election stuff, we're just going to talk about something that I think most New Jerseyans, not just us in Hudson County, can enjoy. But we saw Congressman Rob Menendez and Frank Pallone led the effort to declare September 23rd Bruce Springsteen Day, of course recognizing the New Jersey icon, the boss. He turned 76 yesterday. And they did a resolution in Congress. So just quickly from Menendez, he said, through his storytelling and musical talent, Bruce Springsteen truly captures the experience of everyday Americans and those fighting to achieve the American dream. With his breakout album Born to Run turning 50 this year, I'm excited to honor a New Jersey native whose music uplifts people nationwide and reminds us to always chase our dreams. So pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, Springsteen is, again, an icon in New Jersey, the Garden State, somebody that's been identified with us for many, many decades. And, hopefully he's going to continue touring, putting out albums, remixing classics, and all that good stuff. So with that, folks, we're just going to take one more break. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis. All right, so election antics. Let's tell you what's going on in Jersey City and Hoboken ahead of this nonpartisan November 4th contest. So let's go to the Mile Square City. The Hotel and Gaming Trades Council are backing Councilwoman at Large Emily Jabbour and her three running mates for Council at Large in this race. And of course, her running mates are Councilman at Large Joe Quintero, Zoning Commissioner Steve Firestone, and first-time candidate Caitlin Lawson. So with that said, we heard from HTC President Rich Baracco, and he said, Emily and Joe have been great friends to working people during their time on the City Council, and we are proud to support them and their new teammates in this election. Emily is a proven leader, which is what Hoboken needs right now in these troubled times. So, pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, these are, highly competitive races in Hoboken, just like they are in Jersey City. But in the Mile Square, you have 6 people running for mayor to succeed Ravi Bala. Of course, he's the Democratic nominee for State Assembly in the 32nd Legislative District. And he's pretty much a guarantee, barring one of the largest calamities/disasters you've ever seen this side of the Hudson. So Republicans just can't compete at LD32 historically. So with that, you have Emily and 5 others for mayor. That's Councilwoman Jabbour. And then for Council at Large, you actually have 15 people. Every slate is running 3 people. So that brings us to 15 for 3 seats. So definitely going to be an interesting one as we get closer to November 4th. And then speaking of the Hotel and Gaming Trades Council, They're supporting Jersey City Warden Councilman James Solomon for mayor. For those of you that have been following for a while, you know that Solomon led the effort to get that Airbnb referendum passed. Other people helped out too, like Mayor Stephen Fulop, but Solomon was pretty vocal about that, and that was the reason they said they went with him. So, also Morocco, he said today, when the chips were down in 2019, when Jersey City voters went to the polls on the short-term rental referendum, no council person stood taller for tenants, for hotel workers, for our communities than James Solomon. James is a principled leader, a constant voice for the concerns of our members. We need a strong leader in City Hall, someone who not only listens to the concerns of working people, but acts on them. James is that leader, which is why I'm so proud to announce our endorsement today. In Jersey City, the Hotel Trades and Gaming Council has not made any endorsements just yet. Now, I mentioned a new candidate, and that's in the 2nd District, and that's Adrian Gonda. And he was actually the political director for Ryan Baylock and Katie Brennan in the assembly race I just mentioned. He ran against Bill O'Day in 2023 and got about 32% of the vote. O'Day, of course, is now a candidate for mayor, so we're not sure what he's going to do if he doesn't win. But when we heard from Gonda, he said, I intend to fully run for the 2nd District to advocate for stronger policies that protect reproductive justice, climate resiliency, affordable housing, and advance safe and reliable public transit. Finally, when we talked about mandatory minimums, just a real quick, we heard from Chief Municipal Prosecutor Jake Hudnut, and we said quite a few interesting things. And check this out. A summons is not a fine until it's a plea to, or a judge finds them guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Not every municipal court judge acts in conformity with one another, and it's very frustrating. And he said, you can imagine the frustration that one has been getting through code enforcement quickly. All the ordinance against Portside are in the pretrial conference phase. So he actually said that this was a good ordinance from Solomon and, intimated that he would like to see this move forward, but we'll see what the council does tonight at 6 p.m. With that, folks, we're going to call it a day. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.